let's look at edges. Edges provide natural boundaries for fish cruising along, searching for food. Fish that are up inside the edge of cover may be inactive and have little interest in feeding, while those that are near or on the edge are much more interested in snatching a meal. Edge fish are usually the easiest to trigger, while those deep inside the wood or weed cover may require slow, careful techniques to elicit a strike. And let's not forget that the top of cover is an edge too. Inactive fish that are buried under weed clumps or timber may simply rise above the cover once they become active. This is typical behavior on cloudy or rainy days, at night, or during stable weather. Under cold front conditions or bright sunny skies, however, the fish often tuck under the cover and are difficult to reach. Similar behavior occurs in deep water areas where cover is absent. Fish in a neutral feeding attitude may slowly cruise along or hover on a distinct depth change edge, perhaps collecting along a point or inside corner on the drop-off. Negative or non-feeding fish might be tucked tightly into a corner, tight to the bottom and motionless. Active fish, meanwhile, could be several feet off the bottom, aggressively patrolling back and forth, searching for food. Active walleyes often move up onto the tops of deep humps or flats and roam large areas in search of a meal. Most anglers fish the top edge of a drop-off. However, walleyes are likely to concentrate on the bottom edge where the drop-off flattens out into the lake basin. They may be directly along the corner area or a bit farther out where there is a transition from the harder bottom of the drop-off to the soft bottom of the basin. Such transition areas are often subtle and may not reflect much of a depth change. However, you can feel them with a sinker or jig and spot them on your depth finder. Soft bottom displays a dim, weak bottom reading, while hard bottom reflects a bright, intense signal with a double echo. Walleyes that are far off the bottom, say 6 to 10 feet or more, are usually considered to be suspended. They may suspend in relation to an underwater hump, perhaps at the same level of the drop-off, or they might be far away from any kind of underwater formation, strictly relating to suspended forage, like ciscos or shad.
In a lake or reservoir with a strong population of walleyes, chances are you'll find schools of walleyes using a variety of areas. However, all waters are not equally conducive to supporting large numbers of fish. If the population is weak, or if the habitat is limited, chances are you'll find the fish making do in less than classic spots. When walleyes are stocked in weedy lakes without natural walleye populations, for example, the fish are usually very weed-oriented and behave more like largemouth bass. Why? Because they have to survive in that kind of environment. Perhaps the biggest wild card of walleye location occurs where a lake has a strong population of other major predators like bass or pike. Depending on the numbers and mix of species, they might blend nicely into balanced populations, or one or two species might dominate the others and claim the lion's share of the best spots. For example, a lake with a heavy walleye population might have strong numbers of walleyes on the deep weed line. Largemouth bass would be chiefly limited to the weed flats and shallow shoreline cover. Yet take the same lake with heavy numbers of bass and a weak walleye population, and bass would dominate the shallows and claim a heavy share of the deep weed edge. Toss in groups of large pike, and they might push both species away from some of the prime deep weeds with the best access to deep water. As you can begin to see, there are many factors which influence the way walleyes behave in a body of water. Due to aggressive stocking, they now inhabit such a diverse range of waters that there is no such thing as classic walleye behavior anymore. Instead, walleyes are where you find them. Keep an open mind and be versatile enough to look in the right place. That's the real key to catching fish.
You fish the transition.